And that's why the first travelers did not realize that this was actually the famous temple of the oracle, because it was built into that village, and that's why it's so destroyed by smoke and fire. And you see people have taken up holes for windows in the walls. But this was the temple that became so famous. And you can see that little opening in the palm trees, that's the temple where we were, and they are totally aligned and we're connected with a processional street. And then the mountain in the background, Gebel Takru, is still sort of the holy mountain of Siwa, where they have religious festivals. All those houses on it are most of them are just used for 3 days of the year when they have their yearly full moon festival in October. Let's go stand in the shade where it's a bit slightly cooler, I hope, and I can explain more about how the oracles work. With me? I can make that, I don't mind.
In the greater
I guess it's not a very big temple, and the little we know of how the oracle was described, we would take it so much more space than this temple has, so that's also one reason they thought it wasn't a temple. I said the Egyptian oracles in Egyptian temples was actually a statue. The statue of the god is kept in the sanctuary, which is the holiest room of the temple, the one right in there. But since normal people were not allowed to go in there, it was carried out in processions during religious festivals. And it was we know from Greek authors such as Diodorus that it was carried around by a group of priests on their shoulders. And there were 80 priests, and there were chantresses and dancers and everything. So it was quite a big undertaking. And that was probably took place between here and the other temple. And what people then could do was that they could ask questions that could be answered with a yes or no. And we have some questions reserved from other places, mostly Luxor. And it's things like, are we going to get our salaries next month? Is my brother going to become a priest? Did Amenhotep steal my carpet? And, you can ask anything. And then you would place the questions, written on papyrus or ostraka, along the processional route. And then when the priest came with the statue of the god, the movement of the god, if it tilted forward or backward, would be yes or no when they passed your question. Now, everybody were not so pleased with that, and we know that when Alexander the Great came to Siwa, which he did when he conquered Egypt from the Persians in the winter of 332 BC, he decided to go to Siwa, or the oasis of Ammon, to consult the god oracle of Ammon. And that says something of how important that oracle was in the Greek world, because he wasn't headed this way, he was going east to conquer the world. But he decided to make this loop, and it took him quite a while. He came along the coast, just as you did, and it took him 8 days to go down from the coast to Siwa. And they got lost on the way, and they ran out of water, and everything happened. But eventually he came here. And the oracle, it was probably a traditional Egyptian oracle, but that was not enough for Alexander. So apparently, from what the later writers tell us, he was led into the actual temple and allowed to actually meet the statue of the god and ask whatever it was that he asked, because we don't really know. He was supposedly going to tell his mother when he got back home, but he never got home. He died in Babylon. But here he was in this temple, and he was asking the god questions. This temple is interesting in the way that it's a traditional ancient Egyptian temple. You see, it's built along one axis and has all these cornices and gates and so forth. But the walls are clearly not Egyptian. Egyptian architects, the temple pylons, they always have little, the corners are not straight and they all lean inwards and they have these round corners. So this is clearly built by Egyptian stonemasons and Egyptian architects. And we also know that the stone was quarried in that mountain, in Gebel Takru. And there's a quarry on the top of the mountain, and there is actually Greek graffiti of the workmen who worked there. So we know that it's an Egyptian temple. The decoration and the cult was clearly Egyptian priests built by Greeks. And then a large population of indigenous Berbers. So it was quite a multicultural little place in Egypt.
Where's the statue?
So, yeah, let's move. The statue is gone.
Right,
but let's move.
But was it ever found, is what I'm asking?